Welcome to Good Games Spawn Point, the show for younger gamers by gamers. I'm Hex.
And I'm Bajo.
And I am D.A.R.R.E.N.
And it's 2012. And we're back! Yay!
Doesn't it feel good to have a whole year of Spawn Point ahead of us?
It certainly does. Darren, what did you get up to over the break?
Well, D.A.R.R.E.N came home from the academy and we held a few LAN parties.
Nice. Who came?
Oh, all the other ABC superstars. I thought Owls was supposed to be wise, but Hoot seriously needs to work on his micro.
Well, I guess our invitation must have got lost in the mail, Darren. But I'm glad you had a good time. Coming up on the show, we're reviewing Minecraft. That's right, now that it's had an official release, we're going to give it an official review.
Plus, in a Monster Ass Spawn Point, we tackle some of your gaming questions. But first, I think it's time to put on our top hats and have a look at the latest Professor Layton, and the last Specter. And that's my top hat, and here's your one, Darren.
You know, Bajo, you need to do it properly. Adjust his little antenna and then put it on his...
The polite, puzzling Professor Layton is back, and this time he's solving the mystery of the last Specter. This game actually takes place before all the other Layton games. It's a prequel of sorts.
Back when the Professor had a different assistant, Emmy.
See here, what was that about?
Nice to see you again, Professor Layton.
But don't despair, because we do get to find out how the Professor teams up with his little blue-capped friend.
The story kicks off at a small town called Mist Hallory, in which a strange giant monster the locals call the Specter is appearing at night to destroy parts of the village. Cue the puzzle solving.
Yes, almost everyone you meet on your adventure has a puzzle for you to solve. There's everything from sliding puzzles where you have to move something from one position to another, to mind-melting mathematical conundrums.
I really love those spot the difference puzzles, or the ones where you have to think hard about a trick solution or a double meaning.
A challenging puzzle, to be sure.
But we've played quite a few of these Professor Layton games now, and I have to say, I think they've really cranked the difficulty on this one.
Yes, this is much harder than the other Layton games. Even some of the instructions were difficult to understand. I think it's very easy to get completely stumped in this game.
Shall I just charge my laser now, Bajo, and put you out of your misery?
That won't be necessary, Darren. I was merely explaining to the viewers that they have to make good use of the memo system in the game to help you get through it.
Yeah, and he's right, Darren. I mean, this is probably the toughest Professor Layton game we've ever played. Some of the puzzles even verge on being more frustrating than fun.
You will need to use those hint coins more than ever before. I have never had to rely on them this much, Hex.
Ugh.
Well, at least I got rid of those annoying persistent pop-up messages when you're tapping around the screen to find them.
Glad you could make it. Your puzzle-solving skills are most impressive. The rumours about you might be true.
And did you also notice those little mice that sometimes scurry through? You have to be really quick to tap on those to receive a special mouse badge, and collecting these seems to unlock something.
There's a crazy amount of tapping in this one, isn't there? I like the little hidden treasures that fall out of objects, so it's quite fun trying to fill up your weird gallery of items.
Mini-games in Layton's trunk are once again included to give you other things to tinker with. And this time there's a fun toy train set puzzle where you have to lay out a train track to pass through the stations and make it to the goal without running out of fuel.
I liked that minigame, Darren. There's also an aquarium one, which is very similar to the train one, except that you're launching fish to get coins.
And if that isn't enough to distract you from the main story, there's a whole other game on the cartridge called London Life, and that reminded me of Animal Crossing a little bit.
You create a character and then explore Little London Town, getting to know the locals, improving your happiness, performing jobs, and upgrading things like your outfits. Some places won't let you in if you can't follow their dress code.
London Life is the sort of thing you check out quickly on the bus or whatever, but there's just not enough meat there for, a seriously long gaming session.
It was, in fact, originally developed as a standalone downloadable title.
I do think it adds to the game, though. It helps to recommend this game by having that in it, although I just think that difficulty is too hard, so I've lost a bit of my enthusiasm for the Layton games. Still, it's a well-made game, and if you like your puzzles, it's for you, so I'm giving it 7.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I think if you've never played a Professor Layton game, then you really should play the first or second games first before even considering the last Specter. But there's still a lot of really fun puzzling here, and it's a great story to play through, so I'm giving it 8 out of 10 rubber chickens.
All right, well, I'm off to read the news. I'll take this with me.
I was about to say, read it in your top hat. You look awesome.
Bajo here with some news about games and things from around the world. A recent Newspoll study has found that many young Australians pretend to lack computer skills to avoid having to help friends and their family with their technical troubles. The study found that out of those who had been asked for help, 1 in 3 claimed to be a total noob. The Dutch Supreme Court has ruled that a boy who stole a younger boy's gear in the online role-playing game RuneScape committed a theft. The older boy had bullied and threatened the younger gamer with a knife in real life and forced him to drop a valuable amulet and mask in the game, so he could then pick them up for himself. The court ruled that this equates to theft, as the virtual objects had real value to the younger boy due to the time and energy he had invested in obtaining them. The older boy was ordered to perform 144 hours of community service. That's the news for this week. What you doing?
I'm just taking a look at the Spawn Point inbox. We're still getting so many emails asking us why we don't review games like Call of Duty or Skyrim on Spawn Point.
Well, perhaps I should explain the finer points of classification. Just so I happen to have them with me right now. The requirements for classification markings are established by state and territory legislation and are set out by the Classification Determination 2007.
Okay, Bajo,
this determination is...
Actually, our reporter Goose has been along to the classification board and he found out all about it, so why don't we just let him explain?
It's just state and territory classification legislation. Okay then. Roll tape!
Technically it's not tape anymore, Bajo.
Okay, quick test. Grab a game from nearby, any game, doesn't matter. Now, check out the symbol in the bottom left-hand corner of the box. Any idea what it is? They're called classification markings, and they let us know what to expect from a video game and whether it's suitable to play or not. But who comes up with the classification and decides what goes on the box? So, to find out more, I'm here at the Australian Classification Board. Let's check it out.
Classification is a set of categories that tell you about the impact of content and also the most suitable audience for that content. Certain content, such as computer games and films, must be classified under Australian law and they must carry the classification markings. The first symbol is G. It appears in a green box and that says general audience. PG, that appears in a yellow box and that means parental guidance. The next level is M and the M appears in a blue box. And then for computer games, the highest classification is MA15+, which is mature accompanied. And essentially that means that that game wouldn't be suitable for people aged under 15.
G'day, Greg.
G'day, Goose. How you going?
Yeah, good. Now, what's your job here?
I'm the senior classifier on the classification board.
Okay, and can you show us how you classify a video game?
I sure can. Come this way.
Okay, Greg, so what's the first step?
The first step, we'll receive an application from one of the video game manufacturers. Along with that, we'll receive a copy of the game, but they'll also provide us most times with a DVD of some of the most contentious or highest elements within a game. We don't usually play the whole game. We haven't got enough time to play from the start to finish, but once we have a general feel of the entire game, through playing it and through watching the DVD, we have enough information to make a decision.
So, Greg, what do you look for when you classify a video game?
Well, I guess what we're looking for are things like violence, so whether the characters are punching and kicking each other, and how that is portrayed in the game. We also look at things like swear words and how that's used in the game. Also themes and scary scenes and sort of horror themes and how our own physical reaction to that, and that'll indicate what level it is. And after we finish taking notes, we have a discussion, compare those notes to our rule book and come up with a classification decision.
Right, and so in a general day, how many games would you go through?
We roughly view 300 minutes of material a day, so that combines games, films and magazines, but you'll probably get 3 or 4 games a week to classify.
Do you ever disagree strongly with other people on the panel?
Sometimes we have disagreements about where things could be classified, but I guess that's the strength of the board, where we have different views, but we work together to reach a decision in the end.
Ultimately, of course, parents decide what movies to take their children to and what computer games, they can play. But I certainly think that it would be greatly assist kids if parents became more aware of the classification ratings that are applied to games, what they mean, and to, for kids to sit down and have a chat with their parents about what those things mean and whether it's really something that they want to expose themselves to, or whether it's something that wouldn't be appropriate for them, or likewise, if it might be something that they would be happy to play or that their parents would be happy for them to play.
Thanks, Goose. That's made it a whole lot clearer. Shall we answer some more questions now, Hex?
Let's.
To the Ask Good Game desk.
Actually, Bajo, these days ABC programs are broadcast from computer servers, so there's... Oh.
Right, Hex. How many emails do we have?
Okay, 55,484. Oh,
that's a lot.
Actually, 85. 86. Whoa, 87.
Right,
lots.
Well, who's up first then?
Okay, well, let's go with this one from Ranger in Perth, Western Australia. Whoop, 89.
Hi, Good Game. Thanks for a great year. Last year you reviewed Portal 2. Someone working on Portal is making a new game called Quantum Conundrum, and it is going to be released early this year. Can you please do a review on the game when it comes out? And could you also tell me when it is going to come out? Please, pretty please, with a cherry on top. P.S. You guys rule. If you can answer, me and all of the other Portal fans will be really happy.
Well, Ranger, you couldn't stop us from reviewing Quantum Conundrum if you tried. Not that you are, but we're very excited about it since it's being designed by Kim Swift, the lead designer for Portal.
From what we've seen, it's looking pretty good, but sadly there isn't an exact release date for it yet. It's about to come out in the first quarter of the year, which would mean it'll be out before the end of March. Fingers crossed, and toes and ears.
I think I can cross my ears.
No, I can. Watch.
They're just still on the side of your head.
I can't do it.
Right, now moving on to this one from Gamer Claus in Gaming Pole, Western Australia.
Did you know that all modern forms of quantum physics is actually pointing towards the possibility of multiple universes?
We've had this discussion before.
That means somewhere in another universe there's you and me and a Darren who may be a mad noob.
I really don't like that idea. I reject it.
Hello? It's Mad Noob Darren from the other universe.
It's not.
You heard me.
It's
Hi.
not.
No, it's just regular Darren. I'm gonna hang up on you.
Is this like a parallel universe telephone? I don't think so. Hi, Good Game. First of all, I want to wish you a happy Christmas and a Merry New Year. Or is it the other way around? Never mind. Now, on to my question. My friend watches your adult show, Good Game, and he said that you reviewed Super Mario 3D Land. Is this true? And if so, could you please review it here? Thanks. P.S. I have no P.S., so I'm doing this P.S. as a P.S. P.P.S. Bajo, do me a favour and actually beat Darren at a game for once. Bye.
Beat Darren all the time. I beat him all the time at games. Games where we have to go upstairs.
Yes, Gamer Claus, that is true. We did review Super Mario 3D Land in our adult show. Well, it's kind of true. We didn't actually review it because Goose insisted that we let him do it.
Sadly, we don't have the time to show you the full review, but how about we just show you Goose's final verdict?
Good compromise. Roll tape.
Actually,
check that out.
Hex is technically...
That's a tape.
Technically, it's not roll tape anymore because everything's digital now.
I know, but I have a tape right here that we can roll with. I was proving your point. I thought you'd back me up on this.
You know what these are called? These are called iTapes.
Nintendo have stuck to what they do best, combining the 3DS's tech with some brilliant level design to create one of the most iconic Mario games of all time. So, I'm giving it 9.5 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Now, we're going to move on to this one from Zach in Newcastle, New South Wales.
I don't think this is plugged in. Why is it when you get a free game on your iPod, then later on you have to pay for extras? Please answer. P.S. Bajo and Hex, you guys are the best. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? I get no reception on this thing, and it doesn't make sense because I'm so careful with it.
Well, Zach, that's a good question. Those games are called free-to-play or freemium games.
Yes, the idea is they'll give you a lot of the game for free to encourage you to download it and see if you like it. And if you do, they'll hope you'll end up spending money on a few extras.
But there's the good and the bad when it comes to freemium games. The good ones tend to be fun to play without needing to spend any extra money.
But the dodgy ones tend to make it boring and ridiculously time-consuming to do anything. But they'll often let you skip the boring parts by using gold or Smurf berries or something like that, which you can buy for real money.
I don't have a problem with the games charging for extras. I mean, developers need money to make more games after all, but it's kind of lame when they're deliberately designed to be boring unless you pay.
Indeed it is, Hex. Who's next?
Well, we've got Gabby from Sydney, New South Wales.
Hi, Gabby.
But first of all, I'm just going to make a few minor adjustments to the parameters of this.
What is that? You've been playing with that all day. What is it?
Just you wait and see.
What does it
This,
do?
if all goes to plan, should be able to
sandwiches?
control your brainwaves so I can make you do anything I want.
Okay, make sandwiches.
Now, crazy dance. It works!
It's actually quite similar to my normal dance.
Now, super fast speed. Whoa.
Oh, not feeling good in the tummy.
I'll give you a rest. But I'm going to save this. I might give it to Darren. What is the name of the car racing game? What has a track of Sydney? Pie's answer. Well, that's an easy one, Gabby. It's called Project Gotham Racing 2, and it's an old Xbox game, but it's compatible with Xbox 360 as well.
It might be a bit tricky to find a copy since it's a few years old now. We suggest looking through the older news games at your local gaming shops.
Well, good luck, Gabby, but this one is from Acer 2000 in Perth, Tasmania.
Isn't Perth in Western Australia?
Yeah, but there's probably more than one Perth in the world. There might be one in Tasmania as well. There's also a Sydney in Canada.
What confusion is this? I want to know if you know any good flight simulators that I can play on my PC for free. I watch your show all the time. Hex is the best, Bajo, you're alright. And Darren is a robot? Who?
Well, Asa, there's a few free flight sims out there. Flight Gear is one of the best. It's totally free, it has lots of planes, maps of the entire world, and it doesn't look too shabby either.
There's also a fairly basic flight sim built right into Google Earth. It's got a few planes to choose from, and of course you can fly around anywhere in the world.
And if you're feeling like a super smart rocket scientist, you can try flying space shuttles with Orbiter. But be warned, it's a proper space flight simulator, so you might want to become a fully qualified astronaut before giving it a go.
But if space flight catches your fancy and you're not a qualified astronaut, then Kerbal Space Program is good for a bit of a laugh, and it's free for now, while it's still in development.
Also, Microsoft Flight is coming out at the end of the month, and it's going to be a freemium game, and we don't know yet which bits we'll have to pay for, but that's on the list of games we have to look at, Bajo.
Let me put that on the list, Hex. This is my list machine. Just give me a sec, I'll just put it on the list.
Do you want me to just...
Booting.
I'll just put it on my list and I'll email it to you since you're probably going to be there a while. Let's move on to this one now from Matt in Perth, Western Australia. What's that game with the bear and he has a bag? It's pretty old game, please answer or I will never know. P.S. You guys are hilarious. Oh, thanks, Matt. We think you're thinking of Banjo-Kazooie. Banjo is the bear and Kazooie is the bird that lives in his backpack.
There's been 3 games in the series. Banjo-Kazooie was the first, Banjo-Tooie was the second, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts is the latest.
The first 2 were originally Nintendo 64 games, but they're both available to download from Xbox Live Arcade with updated HD graphics.
And Nuts and Bolts was made for the 360, but we'd say you should try to get the first 2 games if you're interested, since they're easily 2 of the best platformers of all time.
Indeed. But speaking of platformers, we've got this one now from Patrick in Newcastle, New South Wales.
Hi GGSP, I was wondering if Rayman Origins is on the PC, and if so, could you tell me if the Xbox 360 controllers that plug into the PC are compatible with Rayman Origins? Thanks.
Well, Patrick, the PC version of Rayman Origins isn't out yet, but it's coming at the end of March, just in time for my birthday.
And yes, it will absolutely support gamepads and controllers that plug into PCs.
Easy, but with that, we're out of time for this week. If you've got something you'd like to ask us, jump on here and send it in. All right.
What you doing now?
I'm just gonna try this again.
I don't think I like this thing.
Did I mention that I wanted to get a second cat?
Yes.
Bajo, you are a cat. Yay! Oh, this is so much better than a Bajo. I wonder if this cat can review games. Oh, hey, come. Kitty. Bajo! Come on, Bajo! Where are you? Oh, there you are.
Oh, ouch! Oh, Hex! I had the strangest dream I was a cat.
Well, don't worry about that now. Darren's boring everyone in the studio, so we should probably get back.
Okay.
Across a spectrum of digital transmission.
Are you finished, Darren?
Affirmative.
Okay. Okay, good. You know what else is finished? Minecraft. The game came out in 2009 in beta, and we reviewed it way back then, but now it's finally been properly released.
And now that it has, we decided to grab our pickaxes, craft some leather pants, and get mining again.
If there's one game that dominates the Ask Good Game inbox, it's Minecraft. Most of you spawnlings can't seem to get enough of it.
And with good reason, Darren. If you have been living in a blocky cave, then Minecraft is a big open world life building simulator thing where your only limits are your imagination.
When you start a new game, you're dropped into a randomly generated, almost infinite world of blocks. Then you're simply left to explore, mine for resources, and build just about anything you can imagine.
Yeah, there's no quest or story either. The whole point is to do whatever you like and survive the monster-riddled nights.
But you'll end up creating your own quests pretty quickly. For example, you start the game with nothing, so there's your first mission. Gather some resources and build yourself a shelter.
And once you survive that first night, then you might set your own objective. Maybe dig a big hole, or go exploring, or build a giant castle. With a little imagination, you can set your own goal and be completely absorbed for hours trying to achieve it.
Oh, indeed. I spent several days over the holidays constructing a giant statue of me. It ended up being quite the work of art, if I do say so myself.
Yes, Darren, it is definitely impressive, but you stole heaps of our cobble and ripped up our rail just to build a roller coaster inside yourself. Thanks.
Oh, don't mention it, Bajo. I call it the Poop-a-Noob, because it poops noobs and hurts them at the end of the ride.
So, Darren, are you saying the spawnlings can go and download our world and then ride this Poop-a-Noob?
Affirmative!
Right, well, if you want to be pooped out by a giant Darren, then go to the website and you can grab our save game there.
Poop-a-Noob. Poop-a-Noob.
The installation instructions are on the site. They're a bit technical though, so you might need a grown-up to help you out. And you do need to own a copy of the game.
It does have to be said, though, that a lot of people will find Minecraft pretty aimless. There's no main goal. There is a boss at the end that you can get to and beat, and an ending, but to be honest, it's not that exciting, and the ending itself also isn't very good.
And there's still no tutorial to tell you how to do anything, which I'm sure is partly responsible for why the spawnlings ask so many questions about it. It's simply impossible to figure out everything on your own.
But you did a bit of a guide on how to get started when we first reviewed Minecraft, didn't you, Darren?
Oh, affirmative, Hex. I'd strongly advise any spawnling who wants some basic tips to watch it on our website in the reviews section, under M for Minecraft. Video streaming websites also have lots of guides.
They have added in achievements, though, which act a bit like a tutorial. They start by encouraging you to harvest some wood, then build a crafting table, and so on, until eventually you've done just about everything. They don't tell you how to do anything, just that you should do it.
I think that's part of what makes Minecraft so addictive, though. I mean, it's easy to get started with building and exploring, but it really takes a while before you can fully understand just how much is possible.
Affirmative. As you learn how elements of the world interact, you realize it's possible to create some ingenious contraptions. For example, our mob grinder uses the fact that mobs spawn in dark places. Then, by building a tower of dark rooms, we created a giant mob killing machine. It spawns mobs, forces them into a death trap, then lets their loot flow down a river for us to collect safely. Genius!
Yeah, it gets under your skin, doesn't it? I mean, you'll find yourself thinking up crazy structures even when you're not playing.
And you get XP now when you kill things, but you can only use that XP to build enchantments.
Affirmative. You can now enchant armor, weapons, and tools to give them all sorts of bonuses. You can make pickaxes more resilient to breaking or faster at mining, for example. Oh, and pro tip, spawnlings, if you build a ring of bookcases around an enchantment table, like so, you'll create more powerful enchantments.
It's annoying that there's no way to tell what enchantment you're about to put on your gear, though. You're simply offered 3 random enchantments described by some pointless symbols and how many levels worth of experience they cost. I spent hours earning that XP. I'd like to know what I'm spending it on, thank you.
There's alchemy now as well, and it's kind of the same deal. You don't actually know how to do it unless you go online and have a look up some tutorials.
But if you do learn, there's lots of useful potions you can create, such as health regeneration, and you can even make little bombs.
Other recent additions include the ability to sprint, which is very handy for crossing those infinite plains. And you'll also need to eat regularly, otherwise you'll soon die from starvation.
Personally, I love those new structures in the world, like villages and strongholds, and those fortresses in the Nether that look so cool.
Yeah, those fortresses look awesome, don't they? I would have liked the villages to have more purpose, though. They're just kind of the decorations, and they're weird-looking decorations. It would have been nice to be able to trade with them, or maybe they gave you some fetch quests, but no, they just stand around.
Well, there are actually a few mods out there that'll make villages way cooler. They'll build and expand their village and even trade with you. And that reminds me, one of the best features is the huge and passionate online community. Jumping online and doing a bit of building and destroying with friends is just so much fun. Plus there's loads of maps and mods to explore.
Indeed. You can install mods that significantly upgrade the graphics, or add in steampunk-style airships, or portal guns, or dinosaurs. The range of mods is almost as infinite as the game itself.
I love dinosaurs, Darren. Someone's even made a Zelda-esque adventure within this game, as well as recreating Hyrule block by block. It's incredible.
Well, let's wrap this up, Badge. Minecraft gives such freedom to be creative in so many ways, and truly there's nothing else like this out there, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
I love the way this game has evolved over the years and changed, and part of that is the developer, of course, but also a part of it's the community out there who've just really got behind it, so I'm giving it 9 out of 10 rubber chickens.
Wait till you see the next major update, Bajo. It's going to add kitty cats.
Can you put hats on them?
I love cats!
I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure you can mod it in, Bajo.
Hats on cats.
Cats. Well, sadly, that brings us to the end of our very first episode for 2012, but we shall return next week with a review of Trine 2.
Oh, that game looks very pretty, doesn't it? I like the first one a lot.
Yeah, we'll also be taking a look at this. Woo! We can't talk about it yet. It's the PlayStation Vita. It's got all sorts of fancy buttons and things, and we'll check out some of those launch games as well.
Don't forget to swing past the website and leave comments about the show. So until next week, gamers, may all your games be good ones. Hex out.
Darren out?
Bajo out.
That's me. I'm out.
Affirmative. Oh, so what did you get up to over the break, Bajo?
Me, I built a giant cave in real life.
Oh.
Yeah. And you know what I stuck in it?
Tell me.